How's it going, everybody? It's your boy Jose, aka TheNYCGeek, aka TNG, aka your Elden Lord. White, black, Spanish, Hispanic, Chinese, I don't give a damn. It don't matter. Still your Elden Lord, aka the one who sit the throne today. I apologize, my nano leaves. I gotta go fix them. Aka your tribal chief, aka the one who will today be talking about the crazy events that are quickly unfolding due to an organization known as Black Girl Gamers. We're going to be talking about this. We're going to show you the chain of events, the disgusting rhetoric that's been coming out, why this is so harmful, okay? Even if it may have come from a place where people will be like, yo, man, we're just trying to, I get it, but that's usually where that's usually how, what did it say? The road to hell is paved in good intentions. So what is Black Girl Gamers, okay? We're going to go to their website because there's some allegations that are being made, allegations, obviously. I'm stressing that there. But I want to show you what's been going on because this is involving apparently a cease and desist. There may be legal actions. Who knows? Now, this is their website, okay? This is Black Girl Gamers. They have the website. They've got some involvement clearly in Hollywood. Was that Smollett? Was that Juicy? Was that D Juicy? I couldn't see. It went too freaking fast. But clearly, you know, Black Girl Gamers, this is them involving themselves in gaming, in the whatever in entertainment industry. Let's call it the entertainment industry because, you know, I feel like that's a fair thing to say. Okay. Now they're talking about how they shift culture. We have Impact. There's Shuri from Black Panther. You know, we built equity. Whoo, boy. Okay. But I wanted to see that. That's the dude from Dungeons and Dragons. I think that's Will Smith's kid, right? But yeah, they're taught that obviously Transformers. No, I don't know. I just wanted to get back to that point in the video to see if that was, you guys let me know if that was him. Anyway, they are a multi-platform and inclusive community-powered organization that keeps over 10,000 Black women gamers safe online. I don't know how, because one of their complaints that they say is that, you know, we get harassed, as if harassment is unique to Black women. They said that they're the ones most targeted by it. I don't know where they get that data from because, listen, that's going to happen wherever the fuck you go. That is just the lobby, it's just the internet. People, and they'll say, because I've seen some of the people say, well, just shrug it. If you say just shrug it off, it's racism. Dude, that's not racism. I'm telling you, just shrug it off. Stop letting these words and people have so much power over you. Stop letting them live rent-free in your head. I think, and I'm going to touch on this victimhood because that's one of the things that I most strongly feel about. And I'm so grateful my parents never raised me to be a victim, okay? Now, this is, we're going to go back to, I just showed you who Black Girl Gamers are, okay? Now we're going to show what's been going on with them because this is rapidly evolving up to just a few hours ago, right? This is an article from That Park Place. Now, Forspoken consultant Black Girl Gamers threatens legal action against That Park Place and claims they are committed to diversity and inclusion, including our non-discriminatory hiring practices. Now, this is their founder, Jan Lopez, and she said something on an interview, I think back in Game Rant, and she said a few things, but there was one thing that I actually had agreed upon with her. She talked about how race-swapping characters is basically lazy shit, and she's right. She's right. It is lazy shit. She's 100% correct in that. What you need to do is create new and original characters, okay? But you got to also make these new characters interesting. You can't just make a character and be like, hey, this is a Black character. Okay, tell me more. What other personalities traits do they have? Well, they're Black. I got that already. I saw it. I could see that. What else? Man, they are Black. Is there anything else? It's like me. Dude, you got to make more than just these one-dimensional characters, okay? And that's what a lot of these people who claim, oh, well, you tell us to make original content. You tell us, you know, don't be lazy. Don't just swap the characters that are already established. Make new content. Yes. And then they're like, but nobody supports the new content. Well, then that's not the fault of, again, you got to make something worth for the customer to buy. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm getting off sidetrack before I even get to this part of the discussion. Let's go back. I'm sorry. Let's go back to the article, That Park Place. The video game consultancy organization Black Girl Gamers has threatened to take legal action against That Park Place following a report that it appears and is alleged that the company discriminates in their hiring practices. In an article titled Forspoken Consultant Black Gamer appeared, this is one of their articles. Oh my God, that's a long title. It was posited that it appears that the organization was discriminating in their hiring practices based off a post the organization made on X that read, looking for Black women content creators that make Dungeons and Dragons content for some more potential brand work. Hit us up. Now, I got to tell you, there are certain things that like you cannot, if you were doing a job, right? If you were doing an interview and you're in HR, there are certain things that you cannot ask. There are restricted questions. You can't ask people their race. You can't ask people their age, their religion, their sex, like all of these things. You're not supposed to ask because that's put in place so that you bring in applicants, that you can bring in these applicants without discriminating based on those stats. Okay. Now the post was they posted this post here. This was like back on February 19th. Following the publication of these two articles, Black Girl Gamers took to X to threaten legal action against that park place. The organization wrote, "We are addressing the recent allegations published on that park place about discriminatory hiring practices within Black Girl Gamers. These claims were false and were made without prior fact-checking or verification from us or our representatives. Black Girl Gamers operates as a contracting organization that collaborates with both freelancers and content creators from all backgrounds to work on various projects and initiatives to apply to amplify underrepresented voices in gaming and make the community more inclusive." This is some of their tweets. Next, they wrote, contrary to the allegations in the article, Black Girl Gamers has contracted freelancers of all races, genders, sexual orientations, religions, and ethnic backgrounds. We have also included representation of all genders and backgrounds in our content and our events and our marketing, consultation, and research projects, some of which are not publicly disclosed due to NDAs. Damn, I should have brought a bottle of water here, man. The organization then claimed evidence demonstrating our commitment to diversity and inclusion, including our non-discriminatory hiring practices, is readily available and easily searchable. Now, on a side note, okay, good, okay. They do have it here on the rest of the article, because I was going to mention how Kern, Mike Kern, aka Mark Kern, I'm sorry, from Grums on Twitter /X, he's been talking about this and doing his own reporting on it. Now, these are their tweets. They're talking about this. And then this is where it gets interesting. Upon discovering these false and defamatory allegations, that they're allegations, okay, we have taken steps to obtain legal counsel to take action against the publication and journalists, as well as subsequent content creators who have reshared the false allegations of our organization. You cannot, I hate to break it to you, Black Girl Gamers, but that is not going to work, okay? First off, your only strides in affecting it, right? Two, there were people who have said disgusting things about others, including our very president has said things about people, like calling them a murderer or a white supremacist, right? And they are like, you cannot, silence, God knows, look at Kotaku, right? Look at Kotaku. They talk garbage about people. They make hit pieces all the time. And you're trying to say that anyone who shares this is also going to be facing counsel? Good luck. I hit you up with that taken. Good luck. Come at me. Upon discovering these false and like I said here, we will continue to pursue further action against anyone who persists in spreading false and defamatory information of Black Girl Gamers, its founder, and its contractors and partners. We value the talent. Yeah. Okay. Now, following the publication of this legal threat, former World of Warcraft team lead Mark Kern dug into Black Girl Gamers' alleged hiring practices that are readily available and easily searchable, and noted that he could not find a published hiring policy on their website. On top of that, he shared that the company's job board section of their website requires a password to access. So it's not readily searchable. It's not readily available. Kern wrote, BGG goes on to state that evidence of their non-discriminatory hiring practices is readily available and easily searchable. So I did some searches for BGG and hiring policy or consultant and was not able to find anything. In fact, the website has no published hiring policy that I could find. In fact, job posting listings are password protected and require that you first reach out to BGG to obtain access. That is definitely not the definition of easily searchable. I have had a long career, okay? I've worked as a government employee, I've worked public, I've worked private. I have never seen a website, a career site, okay? Any company, any agency that blocks their board, okay? That blocks their board and requires you to go get consent from them. There might be some companies that will maybe make it where you have to make an account, okay? That you have to make an account, but that's just like, hey, put in your email, here's your password, we're just verifying your person, and here you go, you're free to apply. I've never seen anywhere where you are restricted from that. That's crazy. I imagine, and this is one of the things we're going to talk about. Imagine if the shoe is reversed, right? Imagine if this was a white group, okay, that was asking people to apply and be like, hey, we need you to put your race here. Put it here. Put it here. I need to know what you are. Are you Puerto Rican? You Puerto Rican? No. We don't. We're full. We're full on jobs. Okay. Anyway, let's go back to the article. Hearn went on to point out BGG's own website claims to be 100% minority operated. I've seen minority owned, but what does minority operated mean? It is unclear if they mean 100% of management or 100% of all staff. The 100% minority operated claimed the sealed job board and the lack of a hiring policy on the website seem to contradict their claims of their hiring practices being readily available and easily searchable. Because that's also crazy, right? This word here, minority owned, is a great word, right? Because that there's usually like grants or, different tax rates or something like that. But I've never seen this either. What does minority operated mean? Does that mean that you're saying that you have 100% of your staff is only minority? Are you saying then that you have no other races there? Okay, I'm just, it's very curious. Kern also shared an application form on the company's website to access its community. These are screenshots, okay? These are screenshots. It's not like this is their screenshot. We're excited that you're interested in joining our exclusive community of passionate Black women and non-binary gamers. Wait, what about everybody else? There's no one else in this community? Fill out the form to verify your identity. We can't wait to welcome you, blah, 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 blah. That if your profile is private and does not provide sufficient evidence that you are who you say you are, you may not be asked to take part in a verification call. So first name, last name, email, blah, blah. Do you identify as Black? Do you identify as a woman or non-binary person? So this is straight up just telling you, if you are a man, if you identify as male, you are not allowed to join this community then, is what this is screaming to me, okay? Other than also the white, if you're white as well. So, yeah, that's already sending a ton of red flags. That I would be, oh my Lord, I don't know if people understand, like, you cannot do certain practices, right? You cannot do certain hiring discriminatory practices. Kern put, do you identify this? On top of all this, the company's FAQ section of their website, one question asked, can my white husband join? He's Black on the inside. This is on their own FAQ. The response reads, if you don't leave that man at home, like in a threatening way, can my white, I'll phrase it like this. Can my white husband join? He's Black on the inside. If you don't leave that man at home, like it's a threat. That's what the ... It's made as a sassy thing. In other words, no. Okay. Legal analyst Andrew Esquire reacted to the threat, writing, the most insane thing here is the company in question has likely made statements about other parties that are closer to the defamation than those of the news outlet. There is zero chance that this hits the actual malice standard, and beyond that, opening up that particular company to discovery may yield some dirty laundry that they do not want to come to light. And this is 100% true. Some of these people do not understand that freedom of information laws, you can foil anything, okay? And if it starts to become litigation, okay? If it starts to actually become litigation and there's discovery made and whatnot, that's a huge fucking thing, okay? They will start looking through your emails. if you're a company and you cannot delete this stuff because they will hire people to come scrub it and find it. So if you wrote in an email there, if you wrote anywhere in an email, hey man, make sure not to hire that white person. What? They would lose their minds. When asked about reposting the article by Kern, Esquire answered, just shooting this off the cuff, but I believe a simple retweet without comment is typically not republication, whereas a quote typically would be. Like you, so we are, they talk more about this. Now I want to show they received, because this is, as I said, this is escalated. This is escalating very quickly. This is every, it feels like it's just nonstop like, and I've been going off on on Twitter. If you follow me on Twitter, BGG sends a cease and desist letter to that park place that goes far beyond than anything I have personally seen. Now we have press intimidation for real. As our attorney Ron Coleman stated yesterday, John Trent received a cease and desist letter from blackgirlgamers. That cease and desist goes farther than anything I have personally ever seen in chilling freedom of the press. The response starts Sunday night with Valiant Renegade. Okay, now, okay, that was a few hours ago. That was a few hours ago that was posted. Now I want to show y'all, like, I want to talk about, oh man, I want to talk a lot about just the chicanery, the sheer chicanery of all this. Forget the allegations, forget the hiring practices, forget that what there's the cease and desist, forget all that. Okay, that's what I want to touch on right now. What I want to touch on is what I've been saying on Twitter and what a lot of people have been saying as to how disgustingly racist this is. You have created a space called Black Girl Gamers, where they had a former previous YouTuber known as Gothix, Gothix. Okay, if you haven't checked out Gothix, I highly recommend you do. I love Gothix. She's cool. She's intelligent. She speaks it how it is. Okay, and she was a former member of Black Girl Gamers. Okay, now this is let me see if I could bring up her. I want to bring up her YouTube page just so obviously so you guys can see her. Here, hold on a second. Whoop. Okay, Gothix. That's Gothix TV. Okay. Now she's posted a couple videos. She's been doing this. Hold on, let me bring y'all over here. Damn, man, how can I there we go. Sorry about that. Okay. I do this all this stuff live. So here we go. Where she's talking, this is Gothix TV, okay? At Gothix TV, this is Gothix. This is her YouTube channel. Please check it out. She was a person who was a member of Black Girl Gamers. And she talks about how the moment that she started to change from their ideology, how she did not make her skin color an idol. And she says that herself. These are Gothix's own words. They ostracized her. They demonized her. They rejected her from the community because, oh my goodness, my phone. Because it's all about race. It's all about race with these people. And once it's all about race, that's when you start, when your whole focus is that, you're going to see racism everywhere. You're going to see it, and you're going to see it, and you're going to create it. Now, I have personally dealt with this, and I've made some mess. I've put some posts out myself where I've said how I've dealt with this myself as a Latino growing up. Okay, I grew up in Brooklyn. Okay, I grew up in Brooklyn most of my life, and then I lived about 4 or 5 years in Jamaica, Queens as well. And I remember very much being so. Well, I mean, you know, these were predominantly Puerto Rican, Black, Mexican, Dominican. These were, you know, predominantly that type of neighborhoods. And it's only now that just really started, basically kind of like more in the 90s / early 2000s, when you started seeing more of that gentrification of New York City. But I remember growing up amongst my many friends, and I remember especially I used to live in my family used to live in Sunset Park, and I remember how a lot of my people, Puerto Ricans or other Hispanics would come up to us and try to get us to join, you know, gangs and shit like that, and basically be like, look, man, you gotta sit together. We gotta watch out for our own. And the worst is if you didn't, they're like, dude, you ain't a Hispanic man. You ain't Hispanic, because that's always the incitement that they use, the tactic, the bullying tactic. If they can't pull you in with the carrot, they're gonna use the stick. They're gonna tell you that you ain't what you are because you won't join their hive mind. Well, we're seeing that very clear, and that's what happened with Gothics, and that's what's happening now with black people on Twitter who are disagreeing with this racist rhetoric that Black Girl Gamers is spewing out. This hatred towards white people or all other races. Because I myself have said, listen, how is it that you're going to tell me, okay? How are you going to make a group, okay? How are you going to make a group that is only for black women? And then if, say, a white person wants to join, you say no. How is that not the same as white people making a group and excluding black people? Because that surely happened. We all know that. That is what our history was. It had that. We had disgusting, and we still do have disgusting groups of white people who would discriminate against other minorities, okay? Against black people, against my people as well, okay? And you're telling me that you're practicing the same thing and that's okay? I've explained this, but people don't get this. Two wrongs do not make a right. Just because they did it in the past doesn't mean it's okay to do it now in the future. And you cannot argue that, oh, well, we're doing this to keep people safe. Safe from who? Your very implication then is that anybody who joins, regardless of intent, is trying to do you harm based on the color of their skin. That is the same argument that people used to say to my grandfather, who's black and married a Puerto Rican woman, that, hey, you know what? We don't want you in our neighborhood here in Brooklyn because we want to feel safe. That's the same argument that you're using, okay? So yes, it is racist for you to do that. I cannot understand how that is so difficult to grasp, okay? And it's because there is this victimhood mentality, all right? There is this mentality raised into us, and I say us because I include Puerto Ricans doing this because I've seen it firsthand. This mentality of, oh man, you weren't born this so-and-so race, you weren't born white, you weren't born Asian, you weren't born Jewish. Oh man, you're a victim. You're a victim. You'll never be as good as them. Why are you, first off, how would you ever put that into somebody's head? Okay? Why would you ever need to validate yourself based on another race? But it's this victimhood that has kept so many people down because it makes it where like you just be like, oh, well, I won't aspire to anything. I can't do it because the game has been rigged against me this whole time. We have, shit, man, I wish I knew how to do it on Twitter, where I put a comment a while back where I explained, like, it's crazy how you have these people who this rhetoric where they will tell you, it's like, so you go from your communities, right? And they want you to be like, if I fell into gangs, if I had fallen into gangs, they would be like, well, man, what other route was he going to take? Or if I somehow got better, if I went to school and I did what I was supposed to and I got a good job and I graduated and I did all these things, I was the exception. They were like, oh man, can you believe he did it? Like it's like a great achievement, right? And then I would be the exception instead of trying to make that the norm. But the worst is when you don't ascribe to this racist rhetoric of these people is when they start cutting you off. They start saying, you're not black enough. You're not Hispanic enough. You ain't part of our race because you ain't part of the woke hive mind that we have, this victim mentality. And they start calling you words like a race traitor. They start calling you an Uncle Tom or a Tío Taco, because that's what we've been called. I don't know if some of you might know that. It's Tío is uncle in Spanish. They call you Tío Taco, okay? And it's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Why? It reminds me of this scene from, yo, dude, oh my God, I'm going to bring this up real quick because I don't want to make this video super duper long either. But there's a scene in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where Carlton, and if y'all don't know, the OG Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, it was a fantastic show. Now, this is it right here. Ooh, Lord, hold on. Let me put this here. Will and Carlton are going to a fraternity. They're applying to a fraternity, and the fraternity is a black fraternity, and Will and Carlton have busted their asses to do this. And Carlton, the guy who runs the fraternity, hates Carlton because he's like, you're not black enough. You're not a brother. Okay. So we're going to go on this. I want to show y'all this scene real quick. Hold on. Hopefully you guys can hear it. So yeah, Carlton was a trip, man. So he's dancing, he's telling him. So he's like, Will doesn't want to hurt Carlton's feelings. Come on, man. Let's go. Okay, Will knows the truth that he got accepted, but Carlton got rejected. But he doesn't want to tell Will that. Yeah, he doesn't want to tell Carlton that. He tells him that I got rejected. I didn't get in.
Why? Look, I don't know, man. Come on, just let's go.
They took off my sweater. It's a little hot now.
How dare you not take Will?
And this is the guy who rejected.
It's you we don't want.
He tells him, it's you we don't want. Man, I've watched this scene so many times I don't even need my headphone.
But I did everything. I cooked, I cleaned.
And I hope that they get to the final part of this. The ending is the most important part here. I do want to put on my headphones. I do love this.
I got this one.
I love this right here. This is what Carlton says, and it's so very true to this day.
I'm a sellout. Why? Because I live in a big house or I dress a certain way? Or maybe it's because I like Barry Manilow.
Even Barry White, y'all.
Being black isn't what I'm trying to be, it's what I am. I'm running the same race and jumping the same hurdles you are, so why are you tripping me up? You said we need to stick together, but you don't even know what that means.
100%.
If you ask me, you're the real sellout.
And it's so very true, and I don't think they're going to get to it. I don't think they are. No, damn, it's a goddamn shame. At the very end, Uncle Phil, they get there, and Uncle Phil says how, now he's worked his ass off to get his family where they are. And for some reason, that now they're not good enough to be black. And he says, when are we going to stop doing this to ourselves? And it's the goddamn truth. When are we going to stop ostracizing people within our own race because they don't ascribe to this victim mentality? When? I don't know. But we're going to go back to some of the tweets that have been being put out because, and I want to highlight something that Horror Murata put out. She's a YouTuber. Please check her out. She's great. I've been checking out a lot of her stuff as of late. And she put this here. She put this tweet. I keep seeing this. We just wanted to make our own space in gaming claim, right? First, if you want your own space, literally no one cares about that. She's right. No one gives a shit because gaming, like she says, is not a physical room. It's not like there's a limited amount of space unless it's servers and you're like, hey man, we're running out of space on servers. There is literally unlimited space. No one actually cares if you want an all PLC women development team who makes a video game filled with nothing but the same. But she says, I take that back because she's right. The government does care because instead of people trying to build their own spaces, they leverage the government to force them in. And that door works both ways. Equality is a bitch. And that is the truth. You cannot sit there and say that white people are keeping us from something and then turn around and say, we're keeping white people from this. Okay. Again, I don't care. It's not that I don't care. I get that in the past, and yes, there are still probably people, there are many organizations to this day that still do this. I'm sure of it, that discriminate based on hiring practices. But because they are wrong does not say you get to be wrong too. Okay. You cannot then turn around and say, we're doing the same thing they did to us. I'm sorry to break it to you, but that revenge shit doesn't work. Not legally. You're not supposed to. Now, that aside, y'all don't want your own space. You don't want to put in the real work it takes to build that from the ground up. What you want is to control the space others have with supply lines, development ideas, capital, audiences, because y'all are under the mistaken conception that if you have that, everything you make will sell. Again, what Horror's saying here is right. Amrata's touching it. She's saying the fact that like just because you create these things does not say that your product is it's not gonna sell. That doesn't mean it's instantly gonna sell because you're making it for the AAA companies. So you're here where your consultancy firms, marketing firms, contracting firms, conning large studios who have lost touch with gamers into that's oh man, damn, Amrata, you hit it right there, man. Conning large studios who have lost touch with gamers into thinking that y'all are the future. But anyone with two eyes can see you just want to make stuff for yourselves, not for the wider audience. And the stuff you put out doesn't sell because no one but you likes it. That's what happens. You put out stuff that's just for you. But the customers are like, we don't want this shit. Your consumers might take it. Your people in your group will be like, yeah, I'll buy it. That's 10,000 copies sold, but you've alienated the majority of your fan base. Instead of just saying, hey, man, like, if people turned around right now, I'm sorry. I'm right. I'll get back to the tweet. If they came out right now and said, listen, we made a dope-ass game that's got black people, there's a black main character, and there's other races in there too. And it's a good game. It's got good gameplay, a damn good story, you know, all that. People are going to be like, yo, I'll play the shit out this game. They don't give a damn. That's the thing that's always mattered. Gamers don't care about that stuff. It's when you start forcing it as the forefront. And when you start saying we need to change everything because we want to make sure that diversity and equity and inclusion are forefront in it, people are like, but what about the game? And you're like, what game? We got this. We got that. That's a platform. That's a platform for us to spout our stuff. Now, there's nothing wrong with making a game you'd like to see. It happens in gaming all the time, and some even really take off. Most don't. That's right. Y'all feel like you are entitled to the fame, fortune, and space and attention. When you don't get it, instead of going back to the drawing board and working harder, you throw a fit and start calling the people you want to give you that attention ists and phobes. It's the phobes, man. It's the phobes. Then you get a taste of that attention, the attention you like-minded peers gives you because you're under attack, and you continue your self-feeding cycle. Meanwhile, the point of gaming, the games is lost. Y'all are spending so much time focused on what you're not getting, you're ignoring what you can get. Small studios and games with shoestring budgets blow up all the time. It has nothing to do with the race, sex, or genders of the creators. To quote a once famous gaming studio, it's in the game. Yeah, that was EA back in the day. EA Sports. It's in the game. It's just, and there's this, I want to do a flip side, right? I want to touch on this disgusting person right here. This person's horrible. This is another Alyssa Mercante coming up right here. Lucia, what is she? She is a music producer, a 3D artist, anti-icon, Twitch menace, software engineer, monster fucker, biological disaster. All right, I don't know what the fuck. Sorry about that, man. I boomered and I fucking pressed a bunch of buttons. Anyway, she puts the most weirdest shit on her profile and then wonders why stuff is like, what the fuck are you talking about? So let's see some of her tweets. Gaming has a serious racism and white supremacy problem. It has been used as a recruiting tool for the alt-right and only has become worse over the years. We, white people, have an obligation to stand up against it and push it back whenever we see it. It's not just the act of direct racism through that affects this space. It's also the more subtle forms of it that contribute to the issue. Groups and orgs still skew towards a white demographic. Creators primarily network with other white people and give them opportunities. Whether you're just a gamer, a game developer, someone that runs an org or a team, it isn't enough to be an ally or simply denounce racism. You have to be intentionally anti-racist, which means putting in the work every day to make the space safer and equitable. Most of us really don't have an idea just how bad it is. And that's because we are platforming and listening to the people that we should have been listening to all along. Now's the time to make up for that and actually do something about this. Dude, somebody put this right here. Clifton Duncan right here, man, let me tell you something. This dude, woo, he is such a well-spoken individual. Like when you hear him talk, damn, you feel like you're gaining brain cells. But he put here, most of the white supremacists and racists that I've encountered called themselves progressive. And boy, Clifton, are you right? Go check out his stuff, man. Because it's crazy, right? These people who push race into everything tend to be the most dangerous people of all. The ones who want to focus on race and call you a racist for just, I guess, existing. I guess because, maybe my goddaughter, or my friends, just because they're white, that's it. That's it. They're evil. They're white. They're white. How dare you? I don't look. This is gonna go long enough. I'm gonna cut it here. I'm just gonna share what I said. I am grateful that my parents never raised me to ever need the validation of another person. I don't need the validation of a white person. I sure as fuck don't need it from any other person. I don't need it from my own. I don't need it from sorry. Let me end it with this, guys, because this is getting a little long. And I'm gonna have to cut some things out because I'm dying of thirst and I'm coughing here, so I'm sorry. I am very grateful to this day and every day that my parents never raised me with the mentality of a victim. They never raised me to think I need validation from any other race. I don't need that. I have my own accomplishment. As long as they approved and they were happy with me and they were proud of me, that's the only validation I needed. I didn't need to appease other Puerto Ricans. I didn't need to appease Dominicans. I didn't need to appease Mexicans. I don't need to appease black people. I don't need to appease white people. Okay? Because in my mind, I was raised to not worry about those things. Guess what? When you are raised to not see color is when you stop being a racist. When you start seeing color in everything, if every action that's taken, and this is a good litmus test, if every action that's taken, you start seeing, you try to find how that could be racist. If every time you do that, it's right there. That's your barometer of like, oh shit, I might be a little too obsessed with race. Okay? If you start saying, man, this motherfucker didn't pull out my chair when I sat down at the table, he's a racist. If you start saying, hey man, I noticed in my salad I got 5 croutons and you got 6, that must mean you're a fucking racist. You start, because there are people who legit think like that, right? When you start thinking like that, you start viewing everything in your life through the lens of race. That's when you start getting this disgusting rhetoric spewing. That's when you start becoming obsessed with it. That's when you start wanting to be a victim and blaming any time that you don't get your way in life. It must be because of racism. Enough is enough, guys. Enough is enough. And I'll end it with this. And I said it in a tweet, and I said it here. I put it, and man, people were pissed off when I said this, okay? I said, I don't understand how you can say that a group for black people that does not allow white people is not racist, but a group with white people who don't allow black people is racist. Again, you have to take intent into there, right? Because their answer will be this. Well, white people, when they created when they create those groups, it's to demonize black people. Okay? So they're saying right there, all white groups that are made are to demonize black people, which already right there is racist as fuck by assuming that, right? But then when they say, but we make groups, it's to elevate ourselves and keep ourselves safe from white people. How can you assume then that the black group that you're not letting people in is to demonize white people? You're just demonizing them right there. You're demonizing them in that argument that you just made, because you're saying that the only time they make groups is because of racism. But when you make a group, it's not for racists. That doesn't, I don't care how much fucking mental gymnastics you want to play. It's racist rhetoric. Just own it. And like I said, just own it. If you want to say you're a racist and you're like, dude, I don't like white people. Again, I might be like, damn, man, that's a kind of shitty mentality to have, but at least you're being honest, right? So anyway, I just wanted to show y'all all this craziness been blowing up with this Black Girl Gamers. And it's crazy how it's all because of fucking Suicide Squad. Fucking a garbage fucking whoever created the Suicide Squad, man, I want to just tell you, oh man, what have you done? Because, and I'm talking about the Suicide Squad in the comics, okay? Because that spilled forward into the game, that spilled forward into the, showing of Sweet Baby Inc., the highlighting of the Steam curated group, the explosion of DEI tactics in the gaming industry, and now we're highlighting it in Black Girl Gamers and allegedly into their hiring practices. Thank you guys as always. I'm sorry this is going to be a long video. Probably going to take me a little bit to upload it. but it will be coming out tonight. So I hope you guys have a good Friday. If you're religious, you know, hopefully you have a good Friday. If you're not, then hey, I hope you have a good Friday. But have a happy Easter. Hope you guys have a great holiday weekend. And please, 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 please take care of yourselves. Stay safe. And let me end it with something again. Do not use the races of others to validate your own. You don't need, if you are a black person, you don't need white people to amp you up. You don't need a Puerto Rican guy to amp you up. If you're Mexican, you don't need a Dominican or Honduran to amp you up. If you're Canadian, yes, you do need Americans to amp you up. I'm kidding. But if, you know, you don't need to be validated by those other races. Stop thinking I'm a victim. I need value. Okay? You already have it. You have it. You already have it the day you're fucking born, man. You just need to focus on your own accomplishments. Who gives a shit about racist people on Twitter or on gaming lobbies? Man, I know the Halo lobbies. I've been in those COD lobbies. Not very much because I don't like Call of Duties, but I've been in the Halo lobbies and I know what goes on there. Stop letting them have power over you. I'll end it on that. Stop letting them have power over you. Take care of yourselves and stay safe.